Good afternoon, folks, and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Kickin' It with Tim and the Mechanic. I'm Tim Wheaton, joined as always by the mechanic, Brandon Cuttino. Brandon, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. It's good to be back with you. Hopefully, you had a nice holiday break, and now I'm ready to get back to some kickboxing because it's about to turn up real soon in this year.
Well, thank you. I'm wishing you and your family well also. But let's jump into it. We had some kickboxing stuff. We're going to break down a little bit of Enfusion, a little bit of Glory Rivals 4. But before we get, and we're also going to be doing our end of year 2022 awards for kickboxing. But before we get into any of that, Brandon, you have some news for us. You have a fight signed coming up later this year. Main event. Tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, so I'm fighting again February 18th. It's a Saturday night, guys, down back in Delaware with the promotion Gut Check. They offered me a fight. Actually, the guy who I'm fighting is actually somebody who I've known since the amateur days. I actually have fought a teammate of his. I beat his teammate. I guess he got upset about it, so he wanted to try to get some revenge for his teammate. But the fight never happened as an amateur. So now here it is. We're gonna run it as pros. So I'm looking forward to it.
Main event. It's going to be coming up, and you said it was February 18th.
Yep.
Newark. You can check it out at fdtv.com. We'll obviously talk about it leading up to the fight and all that good stuff. But you got a fight upcoming. If people want to support
it's time to look like this guy again. You know.
Getting in shape. If people want to support Brandon Cuttino leading up to his fight, where's the best place to do it?
You know it, Fighters First Shop, guys. Get the merch, get the shirts, Tune Up Crew. You get the mechanic collection, or you can support the show by getting Kickin' It merchandise just like this. You can have this in shape guy right here and this cool guy over here.
Yeah. You're looking ripped. You're getting back in fighting shape and all that good stuff. And it's tough just after the new year, but we're getting back in shape, right?
Exactly. We're ready to go, man. With all the eating I was doing over the holidays, I'm ready to go.
So let's talk a little bit just over the holiday break. On Christmas Day, there was Glory Rivals 4. This was I love the idea so much. Glory facing Rise fighters in Japan. This was in Tokyo. There's all sorts of good fighters. Now, unfortunately, apparently with the Glory Rivals app, I don't know how to use it. I missed the event live. I have a pay-per-view code and I can't watch the event. However, you did watch the event, and there were some controversies coming out, and there was also some cool stuff coming, from it as well. Kento Haraguchi beat Sergey Adamchuk, but the real controversial one, and we'll start with it. Did Stoyan Koprivensky win this fight? Did he beat Kaito?
There's no way to me Kaito won 2 rounds. You can maybe give him 1, but I don't think he won 2 rounds. Like, to me, Stoyo. I mean, I don't know if it could have been that maybe they were really giving those calf kicks to Kaito, because I mean he was doing some damage with those, but the thing was every time he threw them, the sniper would just come back, with a hand combination. Every time he got kicked, he was always coming back with something, always throwing his spinning back fist, connecting with that. So I mean, I thought Kopolinsky won, but hey, like I always say, I'm not a judge.
Well, I mean, you have more qualification than a lot of judges do. You're a professional fighter. But no, this is what everybody was saying online as well. Like, a split decision for Kaito is just weird. Like, that just doesn't make sense at all. And you're saying the same thing of, like, I just don't know what these judges were seeing, right?
Yeah. Like I said, it was a good fight, hands down. But like I said, I really thought Kopolinsky took it. Like I said, I don't know where you're giving a second round to Kaito. That's my only thing.
Man, it's insane. I know he was complaining on Instagram, and a bunch of other people were complaining on Instagram, but it sucks because he's one of the top 3 guys in the world. Anyway, so Kento Haraguchi won, Petch won. What were your impressions? What were your thoughts on these ones?
I mean, dude, I don't know what. Like, I know some people were kind of poo-pooing on Petch's performance, but to me, I thought Petch looked great. Like, to me, he was a more aggressive Petch, probably because he knew he was the bigger guy, and he was just doing Petch things. Like, I was impressed by. I really thought this was maybe his best fight of the year, because he just looked so dominant. He looked so in control. Like, I remember, I think people were trying to say it looked like sparring rounds to him, but maybe that's because he was just that much better, where he made it look like it was sparring rounds. To me, man, I thought Petch was great on this card. Like I said, I really thought he showed out. Like, he showed why he's a champ. He showed why he went over to Rise and became a champ there as well. Like, he to me is running the show.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you. And this is the point of contention that we've actually talked about with Petch in the past, because it's repeated over his last few fights. Of when he fights, you can evidently see that he is steps ahead of a lot of his opponents. He's usually 2 or 3 steps ahead, and he clearly shows that he's better. But he's never puts the pedal to the metal. He never accelerates in fights. It's like he's at cruising altitude. I know I'm beating this guy. I'm not going to turn up here. I'm not going to turn up at all. I'm just happy winning. But the things I think, and like I was talking about it with the Glory Collision 4 when he was defended his title against Vidalis. I was saying that too, of like, just, it seems like, Petch, if you pushed just like a 10% more, you could probably knock out everybody you fight. You know what I mean? I think that's where people are really just like, this guy's clearly better. Can't he just knock these guys out? But no, he's pretty happy with just like, I'm going to beat you in a masterclass. No one's going to enjoy me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, with prize fighters, all you have to do is win the fight. That's the contract. You legitimately maybe don't have to entertain the audience. Brandon, am I off here?
Yeah, nah, man. Like say, like, you know, some people are all about getting that ring time. You know, like say maybe he just wants the ring time. He doesn't really, you know, he's not really looking for the knockout. You know, he doesn't mind being in there for a while. You know, trying new things or doing things. You know, seeing where it is. And then you got other people who are trying to get in and trying to get out. You know, like you like to say, you know, they don't get paid by the minute.
Yeah, they don't get paid by the minute. Anyway, so what else did you see on Glory Collision 4 that you liked, that you thought was notable, that, you know, all that good
stuff?
Stuff.
I mean, well, the main event, man, like Sergey Adamchuk, man, like that's like the guy is like, he basically to me is like an enigma. You'll get some fights where it's like the guy is on fire, on point, looks like he's top 5 in the world. Then you get like a fight like this one where it's like he just doesn't show up. He's just there, standing there like he's a punching bag, take shots, move around, and not do anything until like the last until like the last 10 seconds of a fight, and he'll go like, "Oh, rolling thunder over here," and it's like, dude, where was this in the first second round? You know, so like I just don't know, man. It's like saying like the guy is so great, you know, former champion, but then like say you'll just get sometimes these fights where he just puts out these duds, and to me that's what he did. Like he didn't to me show up for this one.
Yeah, you know, it's tough. He's such a talented fighter. Kento Hiraguchi, of course, he was the champion in that division in Rise, so he's an extremely talented fighter. But yeah, you just like to see him put a little bit more, especially in the main event, just pushing a little bit more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, like I say, yo, Kento did his thing, man. Kento came out, man, was looking good, man. I mean, both of them in the beginning, like, definitely had bounce. Like, they were definitely bouncing in there. You're ready to go. You know, they were, but like I said, man, to me, just Adamchuk just wasn't throwing as much, was kind of just chilling. You know, it just seemed like he was just a guy that was just like, hey, I got me a nice free trip to Japan. I'm just gonna go do some sightseeing right now.
That's the way he was fighting. He's just sightseeing in Japan. That's good. Do you think it seemed like leading into the event there was a lot of hype surrounding it? I feel like this was an extremely successful venture in what they were trying to do of a crossover against Rise. Like, I really want more of this because it really created good hype that wasn't just like another Glory Rivals show. It really did seem like this was great fighters fighting other great fighters from another organization, right?
Yeah, well, I think because this one's a little different. Well, because like saying, we always talk about what Glory and Enfusion, and we always kind of feel like Enfusion is really just, you know, a mini organization of Glory, you know, because basically every fighter there was automatically, they're in Glory all of a sudden. So we're here, it seemed like you're going up really against a different promotion, you know, that kind of isn't under like the Glory banner or your big brother, little brother, you know, to like Glory type of deal. It's like these are people coming from a different country, you know, out here, and again, you're getting different media because you're not getting your normal, you know, maybe European media that's covering kickboxing. You're now getting your Japanese media in there as well. So to me, I think that gets a bigger swirl. Like, hopefully coming up, like say we got the show in January where they're going down to Mexico, you know, hanging out with this promotion, you know, so we'll see what happens. Because also they're going to have a couple of, because I think they're going to have some Americans on here. They're going to have some people from Brazil on here as well. So you're going to get that Brazilian media as well. And of course, you know, you'll probably get some people, you know, some Mexican media as well. So to me, like Glory to me is really trying to become international out here.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it. I think it's a great idea. I think more of that, more events, having more fighters fight. It's crazy to think that over, I think 2020 and 2021, Glory had like 5 shows. You know what I mean? Over those 2 years. And now we've had like 9 shows this year, which is great. And I think they already have like 4 scheduled for 2023. So things are already kicking off. But yeah, getting back into action of like, we missed 2 years basically of kickboxing. So we want to have as many fights as possible. And Enfusion's really helping out with that, constantly having stuff. Should we talk about the Enfusion card just last week in Dubai or a couple weeks ago in Dubai?
I mean, all I really want to say about that card is 2 things. I just want to say Brandon Foss, I said he was going to win, and he did. And the second thing is Sarah
Dejeong.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah Dejeong, man, she's awesome as well. That's what those are my 2 highlights from that card. I just want to put it out there that hey, I said Brandon Foss was gonna win. I know some people in the Discord were trying to come at me, but I'm just saying I was right. I was right on what I said. That's all I'm saying.
I bet if people are coming at you at the Discord, that's just a normal Tuesday. That's just every day. dodging insults every day. Clyde Brunswick was on the card as well, and he won. And he was the famous. Every MMA site was running with the headline of like, "Look at Alex Pereira beating up some guy." And I was like, "Dude, that's Clyde Brunswick."
Hey man, he got some good work there with Alex over there, man. Taking that beating got him ready.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's no shame. Like Alex Pereira, he's a champion in the UFC. He was a double champion in Glory. Beating up a light heavyweight is just like, yeah, that's kickboxing. Alex Pereira is a very good kickboxer. Yep. So I'm not surprised that he would beat up someone like Clyde Brunswick. Clyde Brunswick got the win at last in Dubai at the Enfusion. I think this was 116 event.
Yep, anyway. 116.
Perfect. Are you ready to do 2022 annual awards?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think some of them we're going to agree, and I think some of them we're going to disagree. But that's what I'm here for.
I agree with you. Should we start with the small ones of like fighter to watch, and then we'll kind of work our way up like that?
Yeah, we can do that. Yep.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I think I put out the lists, like the articles already, and I don't think anyone agreed with me. So so I don't think you're going to agree with me either. It's nice when Combat Press, of just like who's been covering kickboxing for years, comes out and they're just never said anything to me at all, and they're just like, yeah, no, you're not right. So Combat Press, thanks for the shot. So it's just whatever. But let's start fighter to watch. So this is someone who came out this year, had a lot of wins. Keep your eye on them in 2023 because they're going to be making a difference. Who did you have for this one?
It's actually somebody who I just mentioned. I really do think that Brandon Foss is the guy to watch. Like I really do think, like I said in the preview, I think Enfusion is really behind this guy, and he's somebody who they're really pushing. Like you see him in their ads, for when they want to talk about their merchandise, their shop. Like I say, he just won this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the year he maybe gets a title shot. He becomes their lightweight champion, maybe defends it 1 or 2 times, and then after that, he'll be in Glory on a Glory Rival show.
Oh, I completely co-sign with you. Brandon Foss is absolutely one to watch. That's not the one I picked. I think Brandon, that's a wonderful pick there. But yeah, he had a really good year. Just finished winning the tournament a few days ago. I will throw back at you Martin Terpstra, who is on a 6-fight win streak right now in Enfusion. He won 3 fights in Enfusion in 2022's heavyweight division, and now he is the heavyweight champion in Enfusion. So it's not the craziest thing in the world to say, like, keep an eye on this guy. He's by no means an amateur or anything like that. However, 2023, we might be talking about this guy being top 5 at heavyweight. Like, he is absolutely one to watch. He's one to keep an eye on. I think he won most of his fights by knockout this year. On his 6-fight win streak, I think most of them are by knockout. Martin Terpstra is one to watch, yeah?
Yeah. Especially to me, heavyweight kickboxing, there's not many people out there. So if you get somebody, that's a heavyweight that's doing big things, you definitely do want to keep an eye out for them. Oh,
absolutely, man. A heavyweight, I hope we're cooking with fire and gas in the next couple of years, but we'll see. So, rising fighter, I'll start with this one, and then you go second on that one. Rising fighter of the year. This was such an easy pick for me. Jay Overmere. Jay finished 2021 on a loss. He is now top 3 in his weight class. That is a really great year. He had 3 wins. One of them was a main event slot against a game opponents continuously. He went from a guy, again, and he lost to the person who's now the Glory champion in 2021. So it's certainly, what a year Jay Overmere has had. Brandon, what are your thoughts, and what was your pick?
Jay Overmere has definitely been doing some big things. Like I said, he's looked sharp. Like I said, again, somebody who I think Glory is behind. It seemed like every card he was on there, or at least every other card, it seemed like they're really pushing him. Yeah. But for me, I'm actually gonna go with the person you just mentioned, which is actually Indy Similar.
Indy Similar, yeah.
like I said, saying the man was in Enfusion, then he came over to Glory, had his one fight in Glory, looked real impressive, had the title fight. Yes, the title fight was a little controversy, but hey, he's still the champion. Saying he's somebody who's on the rise. Like I said, he's somebody who's still young. Saying most of the hardcore fans know him, but I think the more expanded because now since he's on the Glory stage, I think he's gonna get more shine, more spotlight, and more people are gonna know about him.
And you know what, Andy Semler, he's the champion right now, but that division is looking so good. Of like they had a year where they were almost on pause and all the fighters were building up. We were just talking about it the other day of like you could have an 8-man tournament in that division with guys like the 2 guys who just fought for the title, Overmere. They're all in that kind of range of like this is now one of the better weight classes in Glory. Like this is looking good. But yeah, it's going to be a tough year for Andy Semler going forward because there's so many people chomping at the bit.
Yeah, and now I believe Hamza's back training.
We'll see how he looks. Broken hand, and he's coming back. We'll see how that one is, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move forward. Moment of the year. You start on this one.
To me, this is an easy one. To me, the moment of the year is the match.
Yeah.
Tension. Tension versus the Sakura. I think this is the moment where you got both these guys in the ring. You do that whole shot of the whole crowd and everything like that. I think that is the moment right there because this is what everybody was looking forward to. We didn't think it was going to happen. Took like 2 or 3 years for it to happen, but it finally did. To me, that is the moment of 2022.
I completely co-sign with you on all fronts on that one. It is absolutely the match. Tenshin Nasukawa finally facing his Cold War rival Takuru. It was a huge moment for the division that these 2 guys finally fought. But it was everything else surrounding it, and that's why it's moment of the year, because we're back in the Tokyo Dome. Apparently, it sold quite well on pay-per-view. There was, of course, big debates leading up to it, not on who would win, but is this even going to be on TV? So there's headline after headline after headline. They had their exhibition matches leading up to it. That was so much fun. And now we can talk about, we've had some dark ages in kickboxing. We're not going to declare we're back in a golden age, but we're certainly not in the dark age anymore. And it was really because of the match. Now, and again, even after the match, we still had massive headlines of like, now neither of these guys are in kickboxing. What the heck is going on? You know what I mean? It's such a big moment in history that I don't think either of us will forget.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I still just remember, man, just like I still see things on YouTube about the match. Like I still get notifications about it because always something new is coming up about it. Like people still want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, and that was also one of our highest rated episode by a long shot. And I think it's because if you Google the match, our episodes was somehow first on Google for a little while when people were trying to find the fight, because obviously you can't find it; it's illegal. But I think it was our show that people kept clicking on. But it doesn't matter; we got those numbers in the bag. But yeah, that was a moment in kickboxing. And it was great to see so many other people talking about it as well. But yeah, the moment in 2022, like there can't be anything else. The other moments just paled in comparison to how important that moment was.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's just real. Like saying it's in Japan, Tokyo Dome, packed, sold out. Freaking, you had basically, I guess you want to say your Japanese celebrities were all there. Like everybody who you know in Japan is all there and stuff like that. So, I mean that's just saying that is the moment.
It just doesn't get better than that, honestly. It was such a warm moment. But let's get to the big ones. Are you ready to move forward? Let's talk knockouts. I'll list off a bunch of them for you, and then we'll get into like the nitty gritty of them. We just had Enfusion had so many insane knockouts this year. They had like spinning back kick out knockouts. They had head kick knockouts. Kareem El Mari had a head kick knockout. So many other ones like Taito Gunji in K1 had some insane knockouts. Of course, Roman Curricula winning the heavyweight Grand Prix in 1. Antonio Plazabot had 2 knockouts this year. Or some of the other really cool ones. Shingi Zalazov KO'd Joe Nadawat, Matthew Dahlman. What was your favorite knockout of this year? There's so many good ones.
So my knockout of the year is actually, because like I said, I remember when last time we talked, I said like, I'll give you a little tease. It's coming from Enfusion. Like I had 2 of them that was coming from Enfusion. And the one that I'm going with, it happened earlier in the year. I think it happened maybe in, was it April or May? But it was the Dahlman over Simsack KO. Yeah. Like because that was just bananas because Simsack was lighting him up. Looked like Simsack was about to get this W, and then boom, Dahlman head kick, put him out.
I completely agree. That's my knockout of the year as well. Matthew Dahlman knocking out Muhammad Simsack, because Matthew Dahlman was dead in this fight. And it was just like 2 minutes long. So he was getting dropped, he was getting beaten up, he looked bad. A head kick knockout in the first round. An Enfusion title was on the line for this match. I don't think it gets any more exciting than this. This is a great fight, and it's definitely knockout of the year for both of us. This is fantastic.
Exactly. Like I said, man, it was just a thing of beauty, man. It was just a thing of beauty. And plus, too, I think it just happens too because just like saying who it was against Simsack's a killer. Like we've been talking about him. There's all of last year as somebody really to look out for as well.
Yes.
Another person on the rise, and then boom, man, for him to get stopped like that, oof, man, it was just like yeah, that had to be the one.
Absolutely, man. Completely co-sign with you. And I'll try to update the description and try to get links for everything that we're talking about as well. So if you haven't, because I know Enfusion, not everybody gets a chance to watch it. So I'll try to throw some links down below for you folks. But yeah, it was just an unreal moment. Not even a back and forth fight. It was a one-sided beating, and then the other guy won the fight. Absolutely, man. I loved it. Let's move forward to fight of the year. There's some, like we talked about, defining fights like Tenshin Nasukawa, Takeru Sagawa. It is Murat Grigorian, Typhoon Ozkan going to war. Shingiz Alazov and Sidichai passing the torch in that one. One championship had some incredible ones. K1 has some really cool ones with Mazuhiko Suzuki versus Seikei Unama, and I'm sorry about my enunciations. Sergey Maslovoyev and Tariq Kababez went to war against each other. But what is your fight of the year?
So, man, this one I was going to go back and forth. Like, I almost was going to go with Tenshin and Takura, but that really wasn't, to me, I feel like that really wasn't a good fight because to me, that was all Tenshin. Like, I thought Tenshin controlled that fight, dominated that fight all the way through. So, yeah, that's why I had to go through and really look. Like, maybe I could be biased just because I'm a big Sidichai fan, but I think that Sidichai and Shinji Alazar fight, man, was just a classic. Like, that is technical fighting. Those guys just look great.
It was a kickboxing masterclass between Sidichai and Shingiz Alazov. And it had a few other things that I love about this fight is that it was a great back and forth fight. It was a technical war, but it was also for the finals of the one featherweight Grand Prix, and the winner would then fight Super Bond, which is coming up in a couple weeks now. So there's such good stakes in that fight. Brendan, that's a great pick. That is a fantastic pick. I disagree. That's Kapitan Pet Yindi losing his title to Hiroki Akimoto was one of my favorite fights of this year. Hiroki Akimoto rallying back, digging deep when he needed to. It was such a close fight, and these two are just throwing absolute fireworks at each other with the title on the line. That's one of my favorite fights of all time in kickboxing history. And of course, for 2022, I got to be picking Hiroki Akimoto on Kapitan Pet Yindi. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that definitely was a good fight. Like I said, that was a shocker because I think most people had Kapitan winning it.
Yes.
So
you and I both.
Yeah. So I'm saying that was a good fight. That was a good fight. Good, cool, and saying just for Hiroto to just do what he did, it was just great as well.
Absolutely, completely co-sign with you on that. But yeah, it's like the one thing that I do like about the fight that you mentioned, Shingiz Alazov versus Sidichai, is like we are still talking about it because the stakes still matter. Sidichai is not an old man; he's still winning fights in this division. Shingiz Alazov is fighting for a title in a couple of weeks. Oh, we're just cooking now. Oh, what a division we got there! I absolutely loved it. But let's move forward. We have female fighter of the year, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely. There were some really great things going on with female fighters. The Rings of Venus K1 cards. We had a female tournament going on. Sorel De Jong and Jarina Bars picked up titles. Miyu Sagawa picked up some titles and main evented in a few spots. Of course, Tiffany Van Soest defended her throne twice this year. Who's your female fighter of the year, Mr. Cuttino?
So my female fighter is, of course, like I said, you just listen to a lot of people, but my female fighter is, I'm going with my girl, Kana. Reason being is, one, she went 3-0. She went 3-0 last year, two of them by knockout. Also, it's just the way how she fought. Like I said, they were dominant performances. But also, two, I think some of us forget that she was coming off basically like a year layoff from injury. So I'm saying she was injured for some time, and then come back like she never left. I think that's why she is my female fighter of the year.
Her Kana Silverwolf, her head kick knockout this year could be one of the best knockouts of 2022 as well. Like, she was an awesome knockout. She's got such a good highlight reel. But no, great shout. I think that's a fantastic pick. I, of course, going with Faya Hong. Just this person came out of obscurity. This 19-year-old girl came in and fought in the Rings of Venus to be the foil to the reigning champion Miyu. She beat Miyu. She then won the tournament final. She's 19 years old. She takes the crown, and what does she do? She has a couple of Muay Thai fights just for fun. This 19-year-old girl just comes in and upsets all of the kickboxing world in 1 year. I don't know. Like, it's one of those of like Faya Hong in 2022, unreal. I'm not sure if she's ever going to have that much success in her future career. Like, it remains to be seen. It is now a competitive division where she is competing. But what an absolute capital year that this young lady had.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, saying come out at that age, 19 years old, and just blazing like that. Like, say, you win the Rings of Venus tournament. Then, of course, you go over, you do a couple of Muay Thai matches and stuff. Like, saying that's big time stuff, right?
Man, it is insane stuff. All right, all good there. I agree with you. Kana Silverwolf is a great pick, though. Great highlights from her this year. Let's move on to the male fighter of the year. This is bound to be controversial. There's no possible way that we're agreeing with each other. I'll throw a few out to you, and then we'll see back. Tenshin Nasukawa, amazing win this year. Masahiko Suzuki, Petch, of course. Antonio Plazibat, Tijani Beztadi, Roman Curricula. Who was your fighter of the year?
So I think a lot of people would probably like to say Antonio Plazibat just because of just heavyweight, knocking people out, calling out Rico and everything like that. But when I really started to think about it, I was like, man, like the person that to me is fighter of the year is Petch. The reason why I say is Petch is because not only was he fighting in glory, but then he was going over the rise and whooping on people there and becoming champs. Like, it's not just he was just staying in one organization. He was going to other organizations and just whooping on people. Just like how you talked about for your female fighter of the year, she was going to other organizations doing her thing. Petch was doing the same thing. Like, he was going to other organizations, fighting other champions, taking their belts, and then coming back and just whooping on everybody. Like, to me, that is why I say he's the male fighter of the year, because saying it's not. Again, and also he was looking dominant as well. There really wasn't any close fights. He was in control of them. So that's why to me, Petch is my male fighter of the year.
And I think it's a great pick. Petch is a fantastic pick. He defended his title. He also fought, like you said, he went over to Japan to fight in Rise. Not even part of a Rivals event. He was just like, I'm just going to fight in Rise now, take their title, and then I'll come back to Glory, defend my title, and then I'll go back to Rise and do something else in a bit. This guy says he wants to fight like 5 times in a year, defend both titles in Rise and Glory. It's one of those amazing stories where, like, in boxing, they talk about like uniting the 4. Petch is kind of crawling his way there of like, this guy is making it a major name for himself over the 2022 year, having 2 titles, which I don't know, like that. The only other person to really do that was like Semi Shields kind of thing. Of like, go to one major organization, pick up a title, go to another major organization, pick up a title. Not that many people have done that in kickboxing thus far. Plazibat, I guess, had a K1 title as well. Different stripes, of course, and he hasn't actually won a glory title. But yeah, he's Petch, like you said, incredible title, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say Petch. That's why he's my male fighter of the year. I don't know who you're gonna say, but I'm pretty sure you're probably not gonna pick Petch.
No, I'm picking somebody else. Taito Gunji. Just what an absolute year this guy had. He fought 5 calendar fights this year. He picked up a K1 Grand Prix title, and along the way, most of his fights were won by knockout. They were over quality opposition as he was going along. Just what a hallmark year. Some of his fights, some of his knockouts were top 5 best knockouts of the year, top 5 best fights of this year. But yeah, Taito Gunji, just what an absolute year this man has had. Meaningful wins, tons of wins, looked flawless doing it. I mean, just good for him. Good for him all the way through, right? Yeah,
like I said, when you're going out there and you're basically knocking everybody out, and you're also collecting championships, that is definitely a good year for you.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely unreal stuff. But let's get to some of the other ones. Like Antonio Plazibat, 2 wins this year. Jonathan DeBello had a good breakout year. Toma Kuroda had a really good year coming back. Superbon, you could almost make the argument. Shingi Zalazov, you could again make the argument. Who are some of the other people that you were debating putting number 1?
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, Plazabot was on there because, like I said, he was just going out there doing his thing. I mean, Shingi Alazar, you can say as well, because like I said, he was going through that tournament. He beat my guy Sidichai and everything like that. Like I say, he was beating killers out there. So I mean, like I say, it was definitely good. Like Jonathan DeBella, that's my guy. I actually didn't have him for fighter of the year. He could have been my moment of the year, because again, he had a layoff. He just had one fight this year. Kickboxing wise, I mean, he did have boxing fights, but kickboxing wise, this was the fight, and for him to go out and do what he did, that was probably my second moment of the year.
Well, Jonathan DeBella also the same thing. Of like, he was one of the guys that I kind of tossed around in every category of like his fight of the year. He could have been number one, Jonathan DeBella versus Zhang Paiman. It was an amazing fight. That's an incredible match, back and forth, action-packed, big stakes in that fight as well, and a meaningful victory. The moment of the year, the first one that came to mind was his head kick dropping Zhang Paiman in the fifth round. I was like, oh yeah, that's probably moment of the year. Then I remembered we had something bigger going on. But Jonathan DeBella, it was like, with one win this year, he was narrowly not our pick for every category.
Exactly. I mean, he's in the conversation though.
Yes. Fight of the year, moment of the year, fighter of the year. He was kind of there on every single one. So I really hope we get more out of Jonathan DeBella in 2023. And similarly, I really want more out of Antonio Plazabot in 2023. It does look like the Rico fight is happening. He's out there on Instagram saying, "Where the hell's Rico?" Now we are getting the fight. We are getting the fight we wanted.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen, man. I mean, plus two, especially with the whole controversy with Overeem now. So to me, Plazabot is gonna step in.
I think that's the more legitimate fight. I don't think you're fooling anyone if you put Overeem versus Rico. It feels like people aren't fooled that you beat Botter, who's like 97. It's like people aren't. We'll watch it. We'll watch it, all right. But people aren't buying it. Plazabot is a legitimate contender. He's a legitimate threat to Rico. He's a scary fighter. Rico wants to retire. I don't think he's going to want to get knocked out in his last fight kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, man. I really hope we get that. But yeah, tons to look forward to in 2023. Glory's got tons scheduled already. Enfusion's got some stuff scheduled. One Championship is just kicking it off with their Super Bond card. And then they're following it with one Lumpini a week later. So if you're a Kick fan, we're off to a good start this year, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. Like I said, that's one of the reasons why, guys. Hey, remember, we have an episode this week, but we're also gonna have an episode next week because we're gonna break down the Super Bond fight. So be ready for it. Like I said, we're gonna like I said, there's gonna be a lot of kickboxing this year, and hopefully, Kicking It will be there with you guys, and we can be we can be your source.
Absolutely. We are the number one rated kickboxing show amongst people quizzed, which was just Brandon and myself. I'm sure there's other good kickboxing. Honestly, if there are other really great kickboxing podcasts, put them down below because we want to support the sport overall. We don't want to just be an island out here on ourselves. We should all stick together in kickboxing. I don't want to compete. You know what I mean? Brandon, last word goes to you. Tell the people where they can find more of you, what you got going on in your life, where they can support you, all that good stuff, sir.
Yeah, hey, like you said before, guys, remember, of course, always support us by going to fighterfirst.shop. Like I say, get the merch, support the show. That's really one of the ways to support the show is either by getting the merch, but also too, another way to support us is like, subscribe, tell all your kickboxing friends, man. Let's keep this show going. And then, of course, like I say, you guys follow me on the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Cuttino TSMA. Like I said, I got a fight coming up. So you know me, I'm always going to put out some motivational posts. I might put out some training videos. I might even put them in the Discord here and there. So, hey, guys, just be on the lookout, please. I always appreciate the support from you guys.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Cuttino.
All right. Thank you as well.